Welcome to the Crunch Time YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be giving my analysis on what has happened so far in the playoffs and what I think is going to happen based on the games that we've seen. So let's get right into it, and let's start with the Philadelphia 76ers and Boston Celtics. So yesterday, the Boston Celtics took a 3-0 lead against the Philadelphia 76ers, and it looks like Philadelphia, they're going to be leaving. It was disappointing for them to not even take a game. Well, they still have a chance to take a game, but it's not going to have any meaning. Like, if you take a game 3, it means a lot more than if you take a game when you're down 3-0. Because it's likely just going to be a 5-game series then if they just take it game 4. And it doesn't really mean anything, but I really thought Philadelphia was going to be able to show up better, just play better, shoot actually efficiently for once in the series, which I think is their main issue. This team cannot shoot for their life. Their season depended on it, and they shot 30% or something. It was some crazy percentage. You cannot be shooting 30% in games and expect to have a reasonable chance to win. I was shocked that Boston did not pull away, and I feel like it was because Tatum himself had a very bad game as well. He shot like 2 for 11, 2 for something. It was something very bad. He was not doing well either, but Kemba, he did great. And this is why I think Boston is one of the most scary teams to play. They have so many weapons. They can hurt you with Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, or Jason Tatum. Any of those guys can go off on any given night. It's even Jason Tatum. We saw he wasn't clicking. He was having a bad day yesterday, and Boston still was able to win because Kemba had a great game. Jaylen Brown did good. Marcus Smart even chipped in a little on the offensive end, which he's normally not that great on. But looking at Philadelphia, it was not great. They shot 29.5% compared to Boston's 41.4%, 9 for 39 at the 3-point line. That is horrendous. You cannot win any games shooting that poorly. And I think the Simmons and Embiid experiment has to end now. The Philadelphia 76ers will not ever, in my opinion, make a conference championship or conference finals with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I do not think that those two players mesh well enough in this current era of shooting where that will work out. You need shooters around Joel Embiid. We saw he stepped up. Joel Embiid has been doing very well. A lot of people are now saying he needs help. Because when he first had Ben Simmons, people are like, okay, maybe he's not chipping in. They can do more, but he has had a double-double in every game. He's had at least 25 points in every game, and he's played a lot of minutes. He's played 34 minutes in at least every game. He played 37 game 1, 34 game 2, and 35 yesterday game 3. So he's putting in a lot of time. He's doing really well, but this team just needs shooters around him. And Al Horford and Tobias Harris, those were some of the worst moves in the offseason. I did not like the Tobias Harris move. I liked the Al Horford move. I just didn't like how much they gave him. I liked the idea of getting Al Horford for this team. I didn't think they'd be playing him the way they have been. Looking back at it, Al Horford is one of the worst things this team has done. He's not played up to his contract. This also just makes the spacing more cramped. Like, there's no room for anyone. So, Philadelphia is going to have to make some major moves if they want to be actual contenders. And firing Brett Brown is a great way to go in the right direction. So, those are my thoughts on the Philly-Boston team. I didn't talk that much about Boston, but they are a very good team. When they play the Raptors, who also have a 3-0 lead against the Nets, when they play that team, that's going to be a fun series to watch. I think Raptors will come out on top. I think it has the potential to be a great 7-game series. So, another series I wanted to talk about is Miami and Indiana. So, Miami is up 2-0 right now, and I'm recording this before Game 3 starts, and I believe this video will come out before then, but just in case it doesn't, I'm just going to let you guys know, this is before it has even started. The Magic game is Magic Bucks is actually starting right now, so that's why if it ends up going late and I say some stuff that's like, okay, the game has already happened, what are you saying? That's why. So the Miami Heat and Indiana Pacers have both been, the rivalry has been more one-sided, Jimmy Butler and TJ Warren, but I think Pacers do have a chance to steal a few games, if it even is, because technically Miami is home right now, but it makes no difference. Pacers have been doing decent in the last few games. They just need to better defend Miami's perimeter shooters. You can't let Duncan Robinson go 7 for 8 at the 3-point line or something like that. Duncan Robinson destroyed them. He was like the reason they lost that game and the reason the Heat won that game. We just have to better defend the perimeter, and Indiana has a lot of scores. They just need to have better ball movement, just work around better, and I feel like they'll be able to take a few games. I still think Miami is ultimately the better team and ultimately will win the series, but I feel like Indiana, if they just make a few adjustments, they'll be able to make it a much closer series than it has been. So, I'm worried for Denver. Denver is down 2-1 against Utah, and it easily could be 3-0 Utah up. If Jamal Murray does not have that crazy run in the last 5 to 6 minutes in game 1, where he was hitting every shot, and Donovan Mitchell doesn't have those dumb turnovers, that 8-second violation, Utah is up 3-0. Denver cannot defend anyone. Donovan Mitchell is unstoppable. Rudy Gobert is destroying Jokic. Jokic cannot stop Rudy. I think Rudy Gobert, he had 20 points or something in the first half in game 3. They won by 37, 38. You can't let them score so easily. I know Will Barton and Gary Harris are out, but you have to put better effort on the defense. Jokic cannot be just jumping at every pump fake and just playing that poor defense. You just have to put someone better at defense on Rudy Gobert, who can actually defend inside. Nikola Jokic is not a defender, and you cannot just put him on Rudy, because Rudy, who's not known for putting up a lot of points, he is destroying them, and he was big reason. He probably was the best player on the Utah Jazz in game 3. Mike Conley, who also came back, he left the bubble. He had a great game too, so no one on that team is playing defense. The Jazz offense is just finding open shooters, getting everybody involved, while Denver is playing disconnected. They're not passing the ball enough. They're not hitting makeable shots. They just are not playing good playoff basketball. And I think this team needs another player to actually be contenders. I don't think a Jamal Murray-Nikola Jokic duo is going to get you to the conference finals in the Western Conference. Not in a conference that has Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Kawhi PG, who has not been playing great, but still. LeBron and AD, Russ and Harden, even Luka and Kristaps Porzingis, if you want to mention them. In a Western Conference this stacked, you cannot be having just a duo of those guys and a bunch of role players. You need to have a better player if those are your main two guys. So, I just mentioned PG has not been playing great. Let's talk about the Clippers and Mavericks. Kawhi is carrying the Clippers right now. And this is a good and bad sign for the Clippers. It's good because you're able to beat the Mavericks, and it shows even if PG is going to shoot so inefficiently, you still have a very good chance to beat these teams. But the bad, which is obvious, is why is your second best player shooting so poorly from the field? Paul George, this team cannot win a championship if Paul George shoots like this. If this team doesn't win the championship, it's likely because Paul George is just so inefficient at the moment. For some reason, he can't buy a shot. He's just missing too many shots. He either has to just stop shooting or he has to just start making more. It's not working out for them. And it's going to end up costing them if Paul George does not stop shooting or if he doesn't start making. Luka Doncic had an injury yesterday. That was a little worrying, that ankle injury. Luka didn't want to put too much spotlight on it. He didn't want to talk too much about it. Said it wasn't that big of a deal, but that did not look like a very bad injury. I don't think the injury is as bad as it looks, but Mavericks need to be careful. They cannot be putting Luka under this much pressure, especially this young in his career. You don't want to just see him get injured early in his career like a Derrick Rose and just waste his talent because he was fighting in a series that he did not have that high chance of winning. And the worst part is he even went back to play and he had to leave after a minute or two because it started hurting again. He wasn't able to play through it, so that's not a good sign. If I'm Rick Carlisle, I have to be careful in this situation. The Clippers were already beating them. Why would you put him back in? You're down 12-11. Yeah, you have a chance, but it's not that great. And you're putting in your superstar player, arguably top 5 in the league, and you're risking his entire career in a game that's most likely already over. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but hopefully Luka is okay because he's been playing great in this series. He did not do good game 3, if we're all being honest. He did have a triple-double, but he shot very inefficiently. I mean, he was shooting 4 for 10 from the free throw line. That's when you know you're having a bad day. I think the Clippers got in his head early, especially when he and Montrezl Harrell both got teed up in the beginning of the game. I think that really affected him for some reason, or just threw him off a little. So let's see what happened in that situation. And now I want to talk about the Lakers and Trailblazers. So game 3 is today, and I think it's going to be a great game. Both teams are now tied up, and Damian Lillard is hurt, I believe. He is going to play. He said he's going to play. So that's not that big of an issue for the Portland right now. But they have to find a way to stop AD. They were just getting destroyed on the glass a few days ago when they played game 2. Lakers won in a very convincing victory. LeBron even had a very bad night, and they still won by 20 or so points. You have to just contain AD. AD is the biggest threat on that team, not LeBron. LeBron is not the same LeBron as he was in Cleveland or Miami. He is not going to try to beat you with his scoring. He's going to try to have his teammates, he's going to set them up, put them in the best situation, and instead of letting him take maybe a shot doesn't have as great of a chance as going in, he's going to let his teammates try to set them up for more open shots and see if his teammates can hit them. They didn't hit those shots game 1, and that's why Portland won. So Portland has to just stop AD. AD is gonna be what ends up propelling this Lakers team to championship if they win. I think he's the best player on this team. When people say LeBron, I feel like it's just for the hype and everything. AD has been playing like the best player. He's been playing much more consistently, and it doesn't help that LeBron, he'll put up a triple-double even in a bad night. So it's look at this is how bad his bad nights are. But if you look at it, that's not what he needs to be doing. I think LeBron has to score more. Him setting it by his teammates is great, might help the chemistry. But you're LeBron James. You need to play more, aggressive. You have to drive to the lane, go to the rim, get free throws, get easier shots for yourself. I don't trust your teammates. Your starting backcourt duo is KCP and Danny Green, who are two of the most inconsistent shooters in the league. And Danny Green has been shooting bricks lately, so he's not very trustable there. I do think the Lakers are going to come up on top in about 6. I think it goes to 6. I think Portland will take one more. I just think they peaked game 1. I don't think they'll be able to put that performance again. They just put so much effort on the defensive end. I don't think they can replicate it, But watch out for, I believe, Wenyen Gabriel. He's been playing really good for Portland, and I think he can be great for them. So I just want to talk about the Thunder and Rockets series very quickly now. I think Rockets are going. I don't think they even should play Russell Westbrook at all. I do think the Thunder will take a game. I feel like Thunder will take a game today, and that'll be about it. Then Rockets will take the next two. But I think they should just rest Russ for the rest of the series unless it gets tied up 2-2. If it gets tied up at that point, bring Russ back. Then it's smart to play him. But do not play him if you don't have to. If you end up splitting the next two games, you're up 3-1. Maybe you want to play him just to get him warmed up a little. But I would not have him play major minutes. I do not have him play 30-plus minutes. If you're up 3-1, have him play Game 5, play 15, 20 minutes, and then have him sit out. You don't want to have your superstar player getting something re-injured or just getting hurt again just for playing a game that you guys were likely already going to win or a series that you're going to win. So those are my thoughts on the current series. If I didn't bring up a series, it's because I didn't really think it was fit for this video. It's already decided. I'm not going to talk about the Bucks, Magic, and Raptors Nets. I'm not going to bore someone by talking about those two series. Those two series don't matter. The Bucks and Raptors, they're going to win those series. But I feel Lakers, Blazers is very interesting. Clippers, Mavericks is interesting. Utah, Denver, I don't know how close that's going to be, but it is interesting to talk about how Utah has been really destroying Denver and how Quinn Snyder has really outcoached Mike Malone. And of course, OKC and the Rockets. It kind of would have been fun to see Russell Westbrook play against the Thunder because that's just where he spent so much of his career. But I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think the Thunder really had a chance. I don't know if anyone was going to say, okay, I have the Thunder winning this series. So those are my thoughts on the playoffs at this point. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. And make sure to comment who you think is going to win the NBA Finals.